Here is some feedback for assignment number 9. This was the one where you did editing of photographs. And there were a number of different things that you were asked to do. This is a really pretty simple exercise. And the first one here is crop from a horizontal to a vertical. This is Destiny Maynard. And she did that from horizontal cropping to vertical. This is Landon Brooks, and so he did exactly as was required. Okay, rotate, very simple. The image on the left was rotated 90 degrees. So the cat in the original is facing this way, the cat in this one is facing this way. Now, why do you do that? Well, sometimes when you take a photograph, you actually position the camera in a fashion that it requires rotation. This is particularly true like of a cell phone. And if you're shooting in a vertical mode, but you want to make it a horizontal image, that kind of thing. Pixlr and other image editing software will typically have an auto adjustment feature here. And so if you click on it, you will get a better image in most cases. This is Teresa Lawson's, and this was a photograph that she had submitted earlier in a portrait, and you can see just clicking on auto edit will help the image. The other thing you can do is you can use the adjustment for brightness and for contrast. So let's look at Jade Williams. This is her original here, and then this is the auto. So there is some difference, mostly in terms of a little more contrast. Now, contrast, if you remember, is the range of light from light to dark. So where you have a high contrast image, the range is shrunk. So it goes from very dark to very light with not a lot of gradation in between. And using the contrast adjustment, you typically will do that with the brightness adjustment. And it's these slider things that you can play around with and just get it to where you want it. So again, here's the original and here's the auto. But then Jade went in and did manual adjustments, and this is just way better. If you notice that the background here just looks more dramatic, and so does the subject. This contrast is the one thing that when you're using an automatic setting on your camera, like Nikon cameras call it the program mode, and Canons call it the automatic, but basically you're letting the camera make decisions for you. Typically, they do not add enough contrast. So almost every photograph I take, I will put into my editing tool, which I will use Photoshop Elements, and I will adjust the contrast and the brightness a little bit. I may try the auto in Adobe Photoshop. It's called Smart Fix. If it gets where I want it to be, that's fine, but most of the time I still have to go in and use the sliders to add a little more contrast and adjust the brightness. Now this is Megan Phillips, and shows this nice photograph of a leaf, and this is the natural state just as the camera produced it. And then this is the autocorrect. Now in this case, the autocorrect, I believe, makes this a little too dark. So here's the original, here's the autocorrect, and then this is Megan's adjusted contrast and brightness setting. And I think this really gets it nice, and really brings out the colors and sharpens it too. When you add contrast, you're actually giving some sharpness to the image itself. So if it's slightly out of focus and you add contrast, it's a way to kind of get it back. It won't necessarily bring you into total focus, but it can make it acceptable. So that's the adjustment for brightness, contrast, and the auto adjust. And then you were asked to add text. So this is Jade's, and she just put a simple howdy up here. Alexis put a nice font over here on this kind of wedding-like photo. And here's Teresa, who just put Sweet Dreams on this little cat. So that's pretty much that. I don't think anybody had any real problems with this exercise. Just make sure that you learn as much as you can about the editing, just like you learn as much as you can about your camera. Now let's jump out here. So we're getting close to the end of the class, and I just want to set some dates and make sure that you understand it. That as we get to the end of the class, you're going to have some work to do. The first date to remember is April 26th. That is the last day when you can drop the class with a grade of W. So if you're way behind, and we have at least one student who is, and there's really no chance that you're going to be able to get all the work done and turned in, make sure that you get out of the class if you want to save your grade as a W, which is a withdrawal. It doesn't impact your grade point average, but it may impact your financial aid, because if you need a certain number of courses and you withdraw for one course, that could change your financial aid status. This class is one of the few that will accept late work right up until pretty close to the end of the class. So if you've missed some assignments, and a few of you have, please go ahead and turn it in. Every place where you see the submit here, there is the option where you can submit it more than one time. There is no limit to the number of times that you can submit it. So if you will take advantage of that and get partial credit, it can make the difference on you getting a grade that's acceptable as opposed to a grade that you just don't want. Assignment 10, the one you're currently working on, is due April 19th, end of the day. Assignment 11, which is your last photo assignment, and it's really a photo editing assignment, is going to be due on April the 29th. So you've got plenty of time to work on that. But you should also be working on your portfolio, what you consider to be your best work. And you're going to submit 5 images that you took during this class. Don't submit anything you took last year or other times. And if you've already submitted the image that you want to submit for the portfolio, that's fine. If you have some new images that didn't get turned in terms of an assignment, but you want to submit them as part of your portfolio, that's fine. If you want to submit edited photographs for your portfolio, that's fine. You can use the enhancement tools, or you can use the creative tools that are in Pixlr or any other photo editing tool that you are using that has been approved. So make sure, though, on your portfolio that you put in your name, and we want 1 image per slide or page. Okay, it says 1 slide, but it really means 1 image per slide or page, and include the camera that you used. And if you have the photo specifications for those images, please include them as well. There is a final exam in this class. It will be posted on May the 6th, and it will be available for 2 full days. It's a timed exam, mostly multiple choice with a few short answers, and I might throw in a true false or 2, although I'm not a big fan of true false. But that will be a requirement that you'll have to complete by the end of May the 8th, end of the day. And I will have a review sheet that will give you some kind of hints about what's coming in terms of the test. That will be out there probably sometime next week. So if you have any issues, please send me a Blackboard message, and I will be glad to help you out. We are coming to the end, so let's get this thing wrapped up, and I want you all to get the best possible grade you can. So pay attention to these dates and get your work turned in. The final will be one where you can use materials, open book if you want to call it that. It's not that difficult to do. If you have to look up every answer, you're going to run out of time. So I hope that isn't the case. You must take that by yourself. Don't take it in a group. That's not what this is about. But it's not that hard. So that's what's going to get you through this class. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.